What kombucha are you drinking, man?
It's turmeric and orange.
Turmeric orange. So is that made from
Tea.
tea, right? Green tea? I mean, I
Yeah,
guess green tea is the same thing, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
so, मतलब gas होता है इसमें fermentation or something. They have a lot of kombucha here in Australia, but I think if you drink a lot of it, then you have to run to the bathroom, isn't it? It makes you very laxative.
Right?
Yeah, bro.
Uh,
Yeah, some people more they need to sit on the shitter if as soon as they basically drink like a bottle or two.
really?
Yeah, yeah. It's very laxative apparently, and
Interesting.
and कुछ में gas ज़्यादा होती है, कुछ में कम होती है. Some of them are really fizzy, you know, and they have a lot of stevia-based ones as well, which is I think the expensive kind.
Mm-hmm.
No sugar, stevia, and then they have the one where is aspartame and all that bullshit additives that they have usually.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I was talking to our friends about the unreleased podcast, which is never gonna make it to the internet, and I was explaining to them like, if you're talking about someone that you disagree with, is attack the idea, don't attack that person.
Right.
And I think they get that, So I think it's all about a learning. It's more of a learning curve for everybody. Uh, what I wanted to actually talk about today was I wanted to geek out on certain movies that have come out last year. Like I've not watched much television or movies, but I was thinking about like 2 days ago, 3 days ago, Tom Cruise, right? He accepted an award at the Producers Guild.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I I mean, most of the time they don't broadcast it. I think, or they
Mm-hmm.
do. I don't know. SAG Awards or Broadcaster Guild is that the same thing? I'm not sure. But the product, this clip, I guess, kind of came into my feed on YouTube, where
Right.
it basically talks about they gave him a lifetime achievement award, and basically they talk about the idea that how I mean he talks about the idea that how he had to make that big jump from being an actor to a
Mm-hmm.
producer. And when he became a producer, before even he came into the industry, he actually taught his stunts actors karte the. Actors should do their own stunts. He didn't even know that there was all this huge group of people that are putting their life on the line to make the actors look good, basically. Plus technicians, वगैरह ये सारी चीजें. So he was that naive, and then he came into the industry, and then he made that journey from going actor to the producer. और उसने क्या नहीं किया वो ये था कि he did not bring any of his Scientology or any of that to the stage.
Right.
He basically did not. He only talked about his work basically speaks for himself. So I think his new thing that has been there for the last couple of years now, I think 4 or 5
Mm-hmm.
years,
Mm-hmm.
because Scientology kind of got attacked a lot, and I think for valid reasons, Scientology got attacked quite a bit. Lex
Mm-hmm.
Friedman, yesterday, 2 3 days ago, he posted a podcast with one of this guy who is running an organization or part member of a association that is basically trying to help sign former ex-Scientologists back into the world or therapy or whatever it is, the issues that they have, trying to get away from Scientology. And he's a big speaker on all the bad things or commentary on basically what Scientology does that is wrong. And
Right.
Lex Friedman का जो podcast था वो मैंने सुना, it was pretty good actually, a lot of insights.
Mm.
Like I've seen other documentaries over time, so I think what Tom Cruise done is he separated his idea of his version of faith from himself in sense that now he's focusing on he being the best version of himself, being a good Scientologist in sense that कि लोग अगर उसको देखेंगे वो appreciate करेंगे the amount of work he puts into his work, and he being a professional actor, professional entertainer basically. वो अपने आप को apart from entertainer, he's not doing anything. Like Joaquin Phoenix, I think 2 years ago when he got his Oscar or whatever, he came in and he made this whole speech about that we should save the cows or whatever. I mean, in the past this happened where even Marlon Brando's done it, where they've made statements. when they get
Right.
awards. This guy, he rocks up, gets an award, and then he fucks off. He thanks everybody, he thanks his audience, that thank you for letting me entertain you, and then he fucks off, right? It's like he's like the working class man, like वो आता है काम करता है. And yesterday he said the same thing. He got the lifetime achievement. उसमें all these big wigs were sitting there. Steven Spielberg बोलो, Jerry Bruckheimer, Don Simpson, ये सारे जितने भी बड़े थे उन सबको उसने thank किया. And he talked about his journey, and he talked about it, how he got basically he went to South Africa and he heard about
He's such a
this.
narcissist.
Yeah, yeah. So narcissist तो है. As soon as he started saying that I went to South Africa and I got this philosophy, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, the philosophy is fine. He talks about
No,
singularity. He talks
I was
about
strolling there, but you get
no,
what I
but
mean.
I actually think that that's the difference between if it was someone who's, let's say, from a different faith, they would have used a quote from their own faith. So he being a Scientologist, I'm surprised that he did not quote something from Scientology. He actually quoted
Yeah,
from a philosophy.
that's why
Yeah.
with Tom Cruise, some narcissism is good, you know.
Yeah.
If
Something
he
everywhere. I think everybody is in some shape or form at some level a bit of a narcissist. Don't you think?
no, I think
Yeah.
even the people who talk about, oh, you gotta keep cows away from farting. Uh, I mean, I love the guy. I think he
Yeah.
was
For his talent.
snubbed
Yeah.
snubbed for the master,
Yeah.
but
He was.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, the differences with Tom Cruise is that kind of narcissism is actually good. He comes,
Mm.
he got the award, he's talking about himself, and he fucks up.
Correct. He's only talking about his
So I
performance
think,
and how he thinks. Yeah.
well, the other ones are more
Preachy.
narcissistic, like preachy. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And he talks about the idea of, like, so this where I'm not sure if I agree or not. Like, even Joe Rogan and other people talk about that. We talk a lot about successes, but we don't talk about all these people who have failed. Even Tim Dillon. Uh, I recently got back into listening to Tim Dillon. I think I didn't get his messaging. I didn't get his comedy. I didn't get him. So then I
Yeah,
went back to him because now I'm understanding what he's actually saying. So I went back to
yeah.
listening to him. So I'm hunting down all the podcasts he's done in the last two,
He's
3 years.
he's projecting what the society is.
Yeah, yeah.
So he's gonna be like, oh,
He's a bit like
the
George Carlin. He's a bit like
no,
George Carlin. Yeah.
no, he's different. Like what he does is, for example, if you say, hey, you see all these Congo miners for cobalt miners in Congo, and he's like, oh, fuck them. I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
my fucking phone.
Yeah, I like my
Yeah,
fucking
fuck,
phone. Yeah.
fuck these guys.
Fuck
I
these
wanna
people. Yeah.
feel good about myself,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
treating all the bullshit.
Yeah.
And who the fuck cares about these, Africans? So
Yeah,
his
yeah.
comedy
He
is
subverts
in the
things. Like,
face.
वो उल्टा करता है, reverse करता है. Yeah, he has that style.
He blatantly accepts the hypocrisy so that everybody else kind of gets like, oh, look at me. So that's what I like about his comedy.
There was its compilation, the compilation of his most funniest things he said or whatever. I can't remember what it was, but basically a bunch of podcasts he's been on and bunch of things he said. There's one segment where I think he's on the Bill Burr or some podcast, I can't remember, where he says he used to work in mortgage industry.
Yeah.
He used to sell housing. And he talks about that how the only way out of the situation is to get even more debt, get even more
Yes.
money, get even
Yeah.
more back to the bank. It was
Yeah.
brilliant, bro. It was
It's
such a
the
good piece
best.
of.
It's the best
Yeah.
concept, best idea,
I
because
think उसका हासिल ये है कि उसने काम किया हुआ. I mean, the reason why he speaks to the masses, I mean, not masses, I guess, speaks to me especially, is that he's had that common man's job. 9 to 5 kiya usne, and the hustling of trying to sell things to people like insurance. Nothing is more American than selling insurance or selling housing or selling mortgage. Like selling a dream that you take this money and your dreams will come true. The American dream is about the big component about the American dream, which is dead right now, as George Carlin said. But the big component of the American dream is debt actually. The bigger point, if you want to make that dream come true, in most of the Western civilization, you have to go into debt. There is no way to have that dream without having debt. So Tim Dillon उसके बारे में बड़े जबरदस्त तरीके से बात करता है, right? And then coming back to the whole Tom Cruise thing as well, he says that, which I wanted to ask you, what do you think? And Tim Dillon obviously is someone who was talking to Joe Rogan. They're talking about all these people who fail. We don't never get to hear their story. So Tom Cruise is someone who obviously made it, right? And he says that you know you have to create luck. There's no such thing as luck. You have to create it,
Mm.
and you have to visualize what you want. He said it in that speech. I think I'm butchering it, but he says that you don't. There's no such thing as luck. You have to create luck, and you have to visualize things into existence. What do
Mm.
you want? You got to bring it into existence. And he talks about singularity. He talks about that if I'm the only one who's working hard and everybody else is not working hard, it's not going to work. So that's the South African part of the philosophy. He says that if all of you in the room are going to great content and do well in the business, then it pushes me to make even better content. If I'm the only one who's doing it, it's not going to work. If only one person
He's
is doing
a
it.
he's a true capitalist.
Yeah, so I think he's a capitalist. I mean, most Scientologists are capitalists, I think, isn't it? I
Uh,
mean, in their organization, they might be not capitalists at all. I mean, that's why it's a cult. But outside it, I think they behave like one. Actually, I've lost contact. I mean, I've lost myself in terms of reading it. Like I've lost interest in the last 4 or 5 years. I didn't really read into it or anything. A couple of documentaries came. It was a big hot topic, and a lot of TV channels were pushing it. And I've
mhm.
stopped looking into it. मगर ये कि a lot of prominent Hollywood and I think even in the Silicon Valley, a lot of people are part of that. Now, the other one I want to talk about was more than Tom Cruise was the movie Top Gun
Yeah,
Maverick जो है, it basically single-handedly saved the theater-going experience. I mean, this year, I think when it came out last year, it actually brought a lot of people to the cinemas.
right.
So, question is कि what is I mean, apart from Tom Cruise being in the movie and the stunts and everything, what is it? What is it that made people so? Is it nostalgia? या किस वजह से वो फिल्म इतनी चली है? Why did so many people watch it? Like the story. Is it the story or what is it? Is it a
Um,
political thing at this political time where we are in this timeline of where a lot of things are going on? This movie has come in as a cultural shift. Culture is shifting, and then this movie comes along. It is not woke.
so
Doesn't
what's
have any
what's
of the messaging.
what's funny is that even this movie is being was made by Paramount, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
So is Yellowstone.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Most of the content is basically it's like people of Southern America or conservative, I would say, watch that content.
I don't think it's conservative, but I would say that it's a
No,
capitalist.
content is not conservative. Content is not conservative, but a lot of conservative Americans watch it. A lot of people
Uh,
subscribe to that content, and I think some people just watch it for drama. They could be completely voting for the Green Party, and they still could be watching drama, right? Whether it comes on the left or the right.
but
So
it does resonate with them. So,
it does
anyways,
resonate, though. Yeah, I mean,
so
it definitely resonates because if you have Yellowstone and then you're making all these spin-offs from it, then definitely is resonating. I mean, अगर वो छोटा मोटा show होता जो resonate कर रहा है with a small audience, they would not have gone all in terms of hiring that guy as a as a as a producer for their entire content strategy.
uh,
But
creating
he's
all the
making multiple
villains.
shows for them. Yeah, but Tulsa King also, it has the underlying themes of
Also,
capitalism, anarcho-capitalism, less governance. वो पहले एपिसोड में ही बोलता है कि who the real mafia is the government. That's what Stallone says. So I mean there is obviously some messaging in there,
yeah.
and Stallone
So,
agrees with it. That's why he's doing that show.
so coming back to Top Gun, so I don't know about what people felt, but what I felt was that if suddenly I was going into this nostalgia thing, but not just nostalgia, something that we liked. We were like, you know what? The fuck you attitude, the maverick attitude, the rebel attitude, in the confines of the government, you know? It's like there is government, there are authoritarians. If you think about it, they're technically working for the military. But in the military, there are certain people who are rebels, and that's what the American mindset was. And that's what attracted people to America, to the Western world. So I think that the movie captured that magically. Um, and I think um, people wanted some of that in a big movie, like a huge movie. It was a sequel that was needed. Let's just put it that way. That's what I felt. It was a
And I
sequel.
think they had a universal appeal to it as well. A lot of people in different countries watched it and they
Yeah,
ate it up.
because because it's got Tom Cruise, one of the biggest celebrities in the world. You got fighter jets, you know, something action oriented everybody wants. It's got the fucking maverick attitude of taking risks, you know, getting the job done no matter what, you know. So I think that resonated a lot with a lot of people. I went in and I was like, man, I just shifted myself, let's say back in 2000s, like as if what like whatever is going around, this was back in 22, right? So whatever was like the progressive era we live in, and then we go and see this, and it's like I like that. This is what I like. I think we should progress like this or towards this.
I think, but how big you think the role of the rebel attitude played in in the popularity of the movie, like in how many people went to watch it? You think people went to watch it because of the action sequences and
I
Tom Cruise
think
being in it,
people
or is it the
people
rebel part?
I think the people went to watch it because obviously it was a big franchise, right? Like a big
Hmm.
brand, Top Gun. And so mostly parents, you know, with their older kids, they say, "Hey, let's go watch it." You know, this is what we used to watch. Obviously, action was there, and also, it was just simple heterosexual kind of. There was no agenda of like showing gay people, which I have no issues with. But generally, I say that some of that shit is not in a way that I'm saying it's shit. I'm just saying some of that stuff is pushed onto the audience for no reason, right? Like
And I think it
nobody.
doesn't make sense. It's a lot of the woke stuff, woke element that is in these movies, like how Disney's done it. It feels forced. It doesn't feel like it's coming from an organic or a natural place. They usually take existing characters and they turn them to represent a certain gender.
Mm,
They will do that, or they'll take a traditional storyline that has, I guess, um, usually the formula. It, at the end of the day, it's a formula. So what they're doing is,
right.
it's like there was this Angelina Jolie movie. I've not watched it, but its name I think was Salt. And this movie, it is a spy action film,
Hmm.
and I think in the making or somewhere on Wikipedia you can read about it. They've mentioned that in reality the story, the screenplay was written. It's just one of those studio movies. The screenplay was
Hmm.
written to to basically to start kickstart a franchise with a male lead. And what they did is that they realized, okay, you know what, we need to turn it into a female lead as
Hmm.
part of a. Just think of it as a product. They said, okay, we have too many of those movies coming out. Let's turn it into a female. And then they gave that movie to Angelina Jolie. So the way she was behaving and the dialogue she was saying, it did not resonate with the people because what's going on is kind of confusing your conscious brain when you're watching it. That it was basically it's like someone taking John Wick and turning it
Mm,
into a female character. But the entire
mm,
storyline, the action, everything is basically was written for Keanu Reeves.
right.
So I think, yeah, so I think that's what kind of happened in terms of the traditional Hollywood formula. They did not think, okay, if you're going to represent this gender, let's come up with a plot line, a story, or character development that suits this gender. What they did is they took that same formula that they've had for the last 30 years in terms of the way they run their superhero movies, and
Mm-hmm.
they've just put a female character and they've taken out the male character and put a female. It's like if you had a Spider-Man movie, what you do is you take out Spider-Man and you put Spider-Girl in it. You still can, even though it has the same superpowers and the same clothes or whatever, the Spider-Girl's origin story and the things she's facing in school can't be the same as the Spider-Man teenage stories, which is the awkward guy who's finding it hard to date girls, finding it hard to date, is a nerd, is finding it hard to make friends and fit in, and is being bullied at school. If you had Spider Girl, she would not go through that same trajectory. So I think that they are. It's a generic. It feels like a generic movie. Then it doesn't resonate, and then it just collapses. So imagine if
Mm.
instead of Tom Cruise, you had Charlize Theron in the and she running that whole she being the person who's going to train all these Top Gun. It could work, but not in that form of storyline. You could have, a female in a cockpit doing flying F-16s and doing all the action and being a Top Gun, but her storyline would not be the same as the one that they had for Maverick.
But see, that's the thing, right? Like, why don't they get their own top like franchise? Why? It's like,
That's the lazy way
I
out. I
was,
think they're just being lazy. They're just being lazy, or there's just not enough creativity. Another thing that one of our other friends, Sohaib, was saying is that in the 70s and 80s, right, a lot of these people, they came from very hard backgrounds, like famous Indian Brazil singer Jagjit Singh. He also said the same thing that there are the people who come into the arts, they come not from privileged backgrounds, and when they actually speak, sing, or act in a certain way, or write something, they resonate with the masses. Is because the writers, the technicians, everybody, they've seen hard times. Now what's happening is you go to uni, you do a course in, cultural appropriation or something like that, or gender appropriation or gender studies, and then you'll do another course on how to use After Effects and motion graphics and stuff like that, or do a course on screenwriting, and then jump straight in, and then they write a screen, and that's what's going on.
yeah, I don't think so. That's what's going on, but I believe
No, I
that
mean they
it's
use
mostly,
them to create the agenda. Agenda is there.
yeah,
Agenda is there.
uh,
But they're using
yeah,
this kind of talent to create that. And that
yeah.
talent, even when agenda on its own is not really problematic because a lot of companies have a lot of agendas from the 80s, 60s, 70s. It's been happening for a long time. Sometimes you can take a very bad message, uh, something in bad taste, and still create an amazing product that makes people excited. So these people are wrong on two levels. Not only the agenda is shit, doesn't resonate with people. On top of that, the technical talent or the creative talent is also not that great. So they can't execute on both. It's like even if you told them today, let's make a Breaking Bad version with a female. Let's have a female school teacher having that same problem. They will still not be able
Uh,
to execute it as good because the writing prowess is not there. वो talent ही नहीं है आपके पास. Like Mandy, for example, now that's a balls to the wall experimental art house, like gangster movie that they did. You have Nick Cage in it. Nick Cage is an amazing actor. You put him in, उसको जिस चीज में डालोगे वो उसमें बस जाएगा. You put him into any bottle, it'll be lightning. Basically, he gives his 100% every time he goes into a movie. I saw this really shit movie, the old way. Everything is shit in that movie except Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage plays is basically a pseudo Unforgiven. He plays this guy He plays this guy who was, a killer back in the day. And now he settled down. He has a small grocery store, He's got a small store general goods store in the town,
Mm-hmm.
and 30 years later, 25 years later, they come and they rape and kill his wife,
Wow.
and then Nicholas Cage becomes that old guy again, the old way, and he just fucking just just goes on this rampage of destruction, like it's just brilliant, like movie का plot simple है, there's nothing amazing happening, it's not gonna win Oscars, मगर उसका जो character है, उसकी जो acting है, it has taken all the shit dialogues and shit direction and this is amazing. Like whenever he's on screen, you just want to see what the fuck he's gonna do next. He's that good.
Right.
He's got a fake mustache, and even then also he's got the persona and the confidence to carry
Oh,
it.
I saw that. I saw that one.
Yeah,
This is the
mustache
latest
fake lag
one,
rahi hai
right?
mujhe. Yeah, yeah. The cowboy movie, the old way. That's the name of the. You
The
watch the trailer
old
and you
way.
go like, yeah, the old way. I was like, and you think like, what does the old way mean? And then once you watch the movie, it's like Unforgiven,
Oh,
basically. But instead of he being hired to protect a bunch of working girls, his wife is killed in a very brutal way, and then he's like,
it's like
"Fuck
a
this,"
like a
He buries his wife.
cowboy John Wick.
Yeah, yeah, it's like a John Wick. Yeah, yeah. He buries his wife, and he's like, "My, this is it. ये बहनचोदों ने मेरे साथ सही नहीं किया. I kept my head down, try to do the right thing, be a good guy, but the world has come back for me, and I'm going back in. So, and the other side thing is he's got a daughter as well who's alive, and she's
Right.
also along for the ride. But what I'm saying
With
is that sometimes, yeah, actors
the
basically, he's a good actor.
so with Mandy, it was like a meme, right? The whole movie was a meme to start off with. It's like they took everything that Nicolas Cage was memeified for, and then it turned up turned up the volume on it and
And just let him loose.
created this
Yeah, yeah.
let him loose.
जो
And
करना करो. Improv. A lot
I
of things
mean,
is improv, I think. Yeah.
it's just like him shouting. We all know there was this meme that
The
became so
toilet
famous,
sequence. Yeah, yeah, the toilet sequence.
right?
Yeah, on the
Of him
yeah,
shouting, and
yeah.
then this whole scene is like one shot, and he's fucking shouting in his
Single shot,
underpants
single take. Yeah, yeah. The
with
one in
this
the toilet.
weird
Is that one you're
wallpaper.
talking about? Where he's drinking from the
Uh,
bottle and he's in the toilet. Fuck, bro, it is really good. नहीं लगता है कि it's hard, but there's a similar scene just like that one in Bad Lieutenant. It's a Werner Herzog movie,
mhm,
and he's basically this cop who's addicted to drugs, and he's
mm,
on these pharmaceutical pills, like from the pharmacy. He's on codeine or some shit like that. So he's running out of his pills, and now he's got that itch, usko chahiye. Now he's kind of losing his mind a little bit. So he comes out of his car, goes to the pharmacy, and there's nobody in the counter. He's waiting, waiting, and bro, he just like loses it. Like he's just waiting for someone to serve him. He has that Fall Guy kind of movie, देखिए ना, falling down,
yeah,
that Michael Douglas one.
falling down.
He has that kind of he has that kind of a moment on the counter, but it's complete improv. You feel हो रहा है कि जो दूसरा actor है, there's a lady standing opposite the counter. She's just there to read her lines. And then this guy, he does this acting, where he loses his shit, and you can see the other person reacting to him. जो दूसरा actor उसको react कर रहा है, and they are not ready for Nicolas Cage to say his lines. Like वो improv कर रहा है. So other actors feel inferior around him. Like I've watched it in old way as well. जो बाकी actors हैं, they're all like coming from television, or for them it's just another gig. This guy, he's acting like as if he's playing Gladiator or something. Like it's the next his next Oscar movie or something. And whenever he loses his shit, that sequence of losing shit in each movie
Yeah,
is different. In each
right.
movie, when he loses shit, is different. So they purposely write it down there that you can lose your shit, do whatever you want in the sequence, do it the way you want to play it. And every time he plays it, I watched 18 of his straight to VHS, or I don't know, straight to streaming, straight to DVD movies. Because he
Hmm.
went on this, I think now he's on his 26th or something. He's done a lot of them. So मैंने वो 18 सारी देखी, and Bad Lieutenant is one of them, and there are a lot of good movies in that batch that are made by good directors, bro. But they never made it because the studio didn't want it or whatever. In some of them, he's high, like he's on fully cooked up, and heroin is part of his character, and he's playing that. Or in some, he's stressed out. In some, he's having a bad marriage. Yeah, bro. Someone needs to, yeah, I mean, I don't understand why he's not in the big movies. क्या problem क्या है? Like, why is he in the big stuff? Like, someone needs to bring. I mean, if that guy can come back, Brandon Fraser, this guy, like Brandon Fraser, ठीक है, he was a good looking
I
actor
think
back
he's
in the
already
days and everything.
there.
Who?
Nicolas Cage. He's
Yeah, but
already
not
there.
Oscar level. He's not getting nominated for Oscars though. This guy came back, did
He's
one movie, and it's a good movie. Don't
he's
get me
ta
wrong, but
he's taking all the movies he can, I guess. It doesn't matter.
yeah, I think
Maybe he's like, I don't care.
he's in
I
debt.
don't
I
care
think
about Oscars.
he's still in his debt, and he's just trying to pay off. But Steven Seagal had a very bad journey, isn't it? Matlab, he became a meme of his own self. Like it's become a joke. Like you watch all the videos and the fight scenes. Now he's, I think, training people. He's got a school in Dubai, I think, isn't it? Yeah, he lives in Dubai, bro. He lives on, I think, one of
No,
those Palm Islands or whatever. And he's
no
got a
way.
school there. People can come. Yeah, and there's a whole documentary on it. Like someone went to visit him. He's now training people how to do.
I'm going to Dubai.
Yeah. You can pay him, and he will train you. He'll give you a 1 hour lesson or 30-minute lesson. All these kids over there who got time and are into mixed martial arts, they
Hmm.
are going and getting trained by him. And
Interesting.
I don't know, man. Everybody's got a gig, right? Everybody's got a hustle. Okay, you mentioned previously when we were on a phone call about memes. You wanted to talk
No,
about memes. I when the meme thing started, when memes
hmm
came into existence, I completely skipped that entire part because I didn't have social media. I still don't have
uh-huh.
social media, but I mean, the only person who gets to experience memes is through social media. Now, my
Right.
window into social media was through WhatsApp. For family purposes, I had to have a WhatsApp. So from there, I would get all these like uncles sending me religious videos or videos about the end of the world, apocalypse. Read these 10 du'as or make all these 10 hymns. Matlab, it's I think you know what I'm getting at. And then
Yeah.
memes also started coming along. Magar,
hmm
they were being drip fed to me.
Uncle
Memes,
memes?
uncle memes, yeah, memes that uncles
No,
basically identify with and they send me. So
with
there's a whole
duas.
with duas and everything. Yeah. And then recently that Mission Majnu movie came out. I have not seen it. It's one of those Bollywood movies where basically, classic, they're terrorists and a raw agent comes in to, basically take care of the situation.
Don't go into it, please.
Yeah. So it's one of those kind of movies. And I've not
Okay.
seen it. But thing is, when the actor who's playing that role, Mission Majnu, they made so many memes, memes out of that movie. It got memified the shit out of it. Like, इतने
I
memes
think the
बने थे film के. Yeah.
Pakistanis made the memes
Yeah. Pakistanis mostly made the memes. So now the
because
whole
I
thing,
think it was
yeah,
so stupid about saying Janab, something like that, right?
yeah. The starter
Like
pack. There's a
which Pakistani says Janab anymore?
yeah, Muslim, no, Pakistani starter pack, yeah, Muslim, yeah, it said Pakistani in Indian, Pakistani in Bollywood starter pack. There's all these like memes, and even Pathan got memed, right? So in Pathan they show a raw agent, which is like fully six pack, everything, man,
Oh my
style,
God.
and then they show the real raw agent who got caught in Pakistan. A meme of that, and, and then they show in the movie, right? I mean, I don't think so. You have aspirations of what's that movie, so I'm gonna spoil it for you. So in the movie, Deepika is the ISI agent,
Oh yeah.
and they do a meme about how she is the ISI agent and how ISI agents look like in real life. It's some Pathan sitting on a fucking on the bed, turban पहना हुआ है जो बैठा है AK-47 and then they show Deepika, who's like fucking looks like Lara Croft or something, like with
Oh
guns
my
on the
God.
side and everything. Of it, yeah, like it is. The meme game is really on. I think there's a lot of people who have this talent to create memes on the fly. Like they look at something
Yeah,
and फिर
because
दिमाग में meme idea.
as our civilization goes towards ultimate doom, the only way we can have a communication or have some kind of you know uh, level of is by memes.
Like if let's say future, like in the future, like they have these satellites. like क्या नाम है उसका यार
Look at the
yeah
Egyptian
yeah
hieroglyphs, you know.
hieroglyph
Those are memes.
yeah exactly if you think about it yeah yeah so but
So
memes जो हैं I've noticed that they're still in the photograph format. They haven't gone into the maybe they'll go into the generative AI place maybe
I
or
don't.
they will
I think
but video
it's
में नहीं
like
आए video memes don't
no,
exist or do they exist?
you're just fucking
अच्छा
Stone
I'm
Age,
completely Stone Age huh
Stone Age.
video
So
memes
they
में क्या नीचे चीजें लिखी होती हैं they'll show you a clip from somewhere and there's a thing written at
the
bottom
people
yeah
just show. There's this Instagram account I follow, and this guy puts the why so serious theme in the background, you know.
oh
So
yeah
he starts the news by saying the most important news. Like, this has happened, uh, Putin just declared that he's gonna have no nuclear treaty with US with the world anymore. Eh, no, it starts like this. Did you hear the news? So himself in a different angle says, "You mean Putin just canceled the nuclear treaty?" Then the
hmm.
guy goes back to the initial guy. He goes,
Oh yeah those
"Nah."
TikTok videos or like those YouTube small
Uh,
skits अच्छा अच्छा
so those are the memes for videos, because meme needs to be simple. That's the beauty of it.
in
You
my
can't
mind,
beat a
memes
meme.
were more like photographs, like those Polaroids. You have a photograph, and at the bottom where the white spaces, you put a bit of text there. That's that was what I was thinking. Memes are more like
Like
photographs.
Steven Crowder's meme. Steven
Hmm.
Crowder, change my mind. So anything
Ha
you
ha. Yeah, yeah,
mean,
yeah.
and like
Just
anything
put it
that's
there. Yeah.
against the grain, you put it there and say, change my mind.
Yeah, I
You know,
believe Earth is flat. Convince me. Something like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No,
Nice.
I don't think so. That one, but that's
Why
stupid.
not, man? Why not? Like Eddie Bravo says,
Hey,
right?
listen.
If I don't see it, I don't believe it. If I cannot see it with my own eyes, I don't believe it. That movie is
He
there, na? Aankhon Dekhi.
आंखों देखी है.
Sanjay Mishra. I think it's the same concept. He's saying कि जो मुझे नहीं दिखाई देगा, why should I believe in it? Actually, it's a very powerful. From his character's point of view, it makes complete sense. Especially in that country, in that culture, it's a different. He's not talking from a scientific point of view, but makes sense
He
कि वो
doesn't
क्या
care,
बोल रहा है. Yeah, it doesn't
dude.
care. Yeah.
Because he's not educated.
His
He's
character is
not
not
into.
educated. Yeah.
He says, hey, I see, I believe. I got duped so many times. I need to see it. So
बहुत
yeah,
बार.
memes has become like I don't go watch news anymore. My news comes through memes. You know what I mean? If something's getting popular, right, by memes, it and there's no pushback, then you go, okay, this might be true because everybody's posting it. Or let me research on this. Even news channels on Instagram and Twitter, they just post their poster kind of a meme and they put a headline and then they have a
Clickbaity
caption.
title. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Everything is clickbait, so I'm done having these arguments with people. Like, hey, oh, this is clickbait. No, no, everything is clickbait. Everything. Let's
Yeah.
ignore everything. This is news. It has always been like this for ages. This idea that news is not gonna be clickbaity is stupid. It has been there since the fucking start of civilization. That's how news is spread. What do you think? How the gossips go on? Do you know what happened with this person?
Correct.
You know,
Yeah.
right? Like, so it's stupid to even argue. Oh, it's clickbaity. I like this because they're less clickbaity.
No, there are a
Fucking
lot of clickbaity videos out there and everything. People think they're trash in terms of content, but a lot of them have great content as well. Like once you click it,
dude,
it actually is valuable.
dude. Half the time, I've been seeing a lot of news. Like, I don't want to go into American politics, but the news about the Hunter Biden laptop thingy.
Yeah,
The laptop.
dude,
So that
dude, I heard
I don't
about
want
it
to go.
before the thing. Okay, you don't want to go there. Okay.
I don't want to
Yeah.
go there. I'm just saying that the company, the news agency that posted it was New York Post. A lot of stuff that's
I'm completely confused about it. So I think offline I need to, read
yeah.
into it, look
Don't.
into it.
I don't want to get into it. Stupid. So
Okay.
a lot of stuff that Daily Mail tabloids are coming out with before New York Times, and then later on New York Times comes with it. So it's like you know, sometimes somebody has to call out some shit. Might be clickbaity, but there might be some truth in it. You go, do your research. Everything's on your fingertip. You just have to go on Google or Chat GPT and just say, hey, what happened today? And Chat GPT will start writing you a news. Yeah, I want to figure out what's really happening with this particular thing that just came out. And Chat GPT will crawl the internet for you, you know. So I think the way we are going into the future, a lot of stuff's changing. And memes is, in my opinion, the best way to communicate because sometimes
Quick,
I can't,
fast, funny,
like,
easy.
I can't have a conversation with people anymore. When you start questioning people, people get offended. Um, I got a meme from somebody, not a meme, like a reel, like just 15, 20 seconds of like information about this Abrahamic temples in Abu Dhabi or something. There's a synagogue, there's a church, and there's something else next to each other, a mosque next to each other. And some guys like, oh, these uh these things are a sign that they're gonna build a third temple, you know, in Jerusalem. And to that guy I said, hey, I think it's the Zionists who might be doing that. And the guy who started saying, oh, I was just sharing this. This is talking about Antichrist. I'm like, okay, but it's talking about the third temple. I think the Zionists are gonna create that.
Correct. You're
But
talking about
the
the current, what events will
no,
lead to it rather than
so
the.
in the video they said that these things are happening, and these are happening in the preparation to build the third temple, where the Antichrist is gonna come. Okay, simple information somebody shared with me because he thought this is important. The Antichrist is coming. So I replied to him saying, so looks like the Zionists are the one who will be creating the third temple. And that triggered the guy, and I could not continue with the conversation. And he's like, oh, this conversation's too divisive. I don't want to talk about it. I said, I send him a GIF. I said, I can't, like, you sent me a video showing that these three temples kind of is the reasoning. I don't believe it is. You send me that video. And then it says that they are creating the third temple in Jerusalem where the Antichrist is going to come. And to that I said, the Zionists are going to build it.
People need to
And
stop getting so sensitive, man. People are too sensitive. They
so,
they
so,
want your opinion, but they're expecting you to behave in a certain way when you give them your opinion. They want to hear what they want to hear. They don't want your opinion for real. That's not how it
right.
works.
But I saw another TikTok video which was hilarious today. Uh, so there's this like a barricade to get out of some place in China.
Oh yeah, yeah. You send it to me. Yeah, yeah. So the guy looks into the thing, it scans his face, and it doesn't open. But when he
No,
smiles, that's it. My kid makes that kind of a thing. He's been trained. I mean, I guess trained by the child care or the school that every time they want him to take a photograph, they say cheese. Everybody says cheese, and they basically the cheese. That's what it is.
yeah, I don't know, but it
That's
was
so weird, bro. That was weird.
uh,
You mean
thing
maybe it's got a photo, maybe it's as simple as that there's a photograph in the database which has a lot
that
of
where
details. Yeah, and then he looks like that, and then, but they
So
think,
you're
right?
saying
I
the
mean,
software was kind of outdated?
because the software has some kind of place to reference from. It has to.
Sure, but
Yeah.
they have been doing this for a long time. Their software has been constantly upgraded.
Yeah. Maybe they are not
Would
that.
I think they wanted the person to smile.
Only then it'll open up.
Yeah. I
If
think
you look unhappy,
we
it'll not open.
the amount of resources being used to create these kind of softwares all around.
Yeah. Billions.
Like,
Yeah.
isn't
Going
this
around.
connected somewhere? Like, if it was okay, this is a manufacturer. This manufacturer's software is outdated. This manufacturer's software is better than this manufacturer. So we used to save money. We use the cheaper one. We put
They
it there.
reverse engineer everything, man. If they
No,
get a
no, I'm
car, they
just
will
saying
take that car back to China and reverse
that's.
engineer that.
I wasn't saying that's the point. My point is that that thing is connected to a central system to validate the person, right? So it's a central system. Now that central system's been there for years now. Don't you think they upgrade? Dude, my fucking iPhones get upgraded every 2 months or one
Okay,
month.
that's what you meant. Yeah. So
Yeah. So I think they wanted people to smile because you can't be sad.
yeah, but thing is that you smile, it opens up, and then you're sad again. It's like,
Doesn't matter.
it's like
Doesn't matter.
I guess
Smile.
that's absurdity of most of these states. A lot of things
Yeah.
are very absurd. You think like, I mean, think about it, dude. They had apps so that when you walk into these restaurants, they would say, "Oh, have you taken the injection? Are you certified to sit in this restaurant?" I mean, you could make it up, and they were not even checking. I used to go to these
People
restaurants.
made it up.
They didn't even look at it. They would just look at it from far. You could be showing someone else's certificate. They did not. You need to have your ID card and the certificate. Most people were not even looking at the ID card. They were just looking at
They
the
don't care. All they
yeah
care is the compliance part. That
yeah
you complied,
tick boxes.
and when they asked, you gave it to showed it to them. Here's my pass. Don't discriminate. I'm
Hmm.
I'm I, I'm safe. Funny enough, I went to a doctor last week after waiting for 3 months, getting an appointment, go to the doctor. They say, hey, you gotta wear a
Three
mask.
months.
I'm like,
Is
oh
Was
no,
he like a specialist or something or normal
no,
GP?
it's family now.
Far out, man. 3 months.
So check this out. So I went there and they said, oh, you gotta wear a mask. I'm like, I ain't gonna wear fucking no mask. It's
Hmm.
like, oh, I have medical exemption. It's like, oh, do you have it papers? I'm like, I'm not gonna show you anything about my private health data. What the hell are
Hmm.
you talking about? I looked in the eye and said no.
Hmm. Hmm.
And this was the receptionist. So she let me go. Then they sent me to wait in the office, whatever the room, the examining room. And then the doctor comes with the mask, like, like holding it far away from me, wearing the mask. And she's like, through the mask, I never saw her face. I don't know how she looks like. And she's like, huffing and puffing, like as if she can't breathe. And she asked me, hey, you gotta wear a mask. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna wear a mask. I'm here because I'm having issues with breathing.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
want me to wear a mask? I get headaches.
Hmm.
I get headaches. I start coughing because it restricts my airways. I I have COPD,
Hmm.
lung issues. I can't do that. So I don't care if you have COPD. You gotta wear a mask. I'm like, why should I wear a mask? Do public hospitals still want us to wear masks? It's like, yeah, you know. And what about other clinics? It's like, yes, other clinics. Like, okay, sure, okay, give me the mask. I don't care. I'll just suffer for the next 5 minutes. And then she just decides not to see me. Like, sorry, I don't think this is gonna work out. I'm like, I'm accepting your mask. So they
Hmm.
want compliance. They want me to be completely okay with whatever they tell me to do, even though it doesn't make any logic. Because the first thing when she said you gotta wear a mask, I'm like, why? I'm okay. I'm not scared.
Yeah.
Right? It's to protect me. I'm like, you're wearing a mask. Yeah, but you gotta wear a mask. I'm like, why don't you wear this same mask? Put another one on. Put three masks on. Why should I wear a mask? You're scared. I'm not scared.
Yeah.
Like if
Yeah.
the mask, one mask saves you, and another one
Yeah,
mask
but isn't it over? Like you still have to wear a mask. I don't understand. Isn't it over?
at
Now there are no more
hospitals, yeah.
masks here in Australia.
Did you
Nothing.
in like clinics and stuff? No?
Mm,
Yeah, so
I
it's
think the
it's
doctors are
it's
wearing masks, but
yeah.
I don't have to
Doesn't
wear one because I went to see a doctor, a normal general practitioner 3 months ago. No masks.
over here some clinics are still
Well, I'll tell you something, right? This is funny. I went to see my dentist. I've been seeing him for a long time, for 8, 9 years now. And during the, I guess, 2 years ago or a year ago when we were in the middle of this whole thing, I went there and they said, you need to wear a mask. I was like, okay. I was wearing my mask. I showed them my certificate. But I'm thinking how stupid the whole thing is. I'm sitting there in the lobby, I'm wearing a mask, and then once I go into the room, there are two people, the dentist and the assistant. And then I have to take my
hmm.
mask off so they can look into my mouth and fix all that shit, right? It's like how funny, like it's just surreal, bro. It's like you're on another planet. You're like in another place. Can't believe that we actually went through that whole thing. But
I can't believe because we went through that whole shit.
yeah, yeah. But
It's
I think
so
a lot of
stupid.
people, like today, I was talking to a colleague, and we were talking about the whole Bob Iger, not Bob Iger. We were talking about DeSantis actually. So we were talking about Disney and the Disney scenario with DeSantis. So have you heard about what happened there? No. Okay.
No.
So Disney tried to take on the Florida government, and DeSantis. You heard about DeSantis or no?
I don't know.
Yeah. So
I know of him,
DeSantis,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So DeSantis basically, is in power and he's running, you know, Florida, and he wasn't happy with that they were suing. I wouldn't say sue. They had compliance and policy issues with the the government of Florida, but at the same time, they were getting all these benefits from the government of Florida, tax breaks and everything, no tax deals, no tax zone on their land where they had the Disneyland and everything, and they had this whole what do you call certain issues were there in terms of woke content or whatever. That's a different story. Thing is, this is the government. The government is giving you all these benefits, and then you are basically suing the government or conflicting with the government on some certain policies, but you're doing it by saving all that money that you don't have to pay, and you're using that towards the government. So he said, first things first, you guys don't want to listen to us. Fuck you guys. So he took away all their tax breaks, all of it. It's like, it is not going to be, then fuck off. And then on top of that, Disney's branding got hurt because they went to court and all these things rolled out. It's just one failure after the other. They were just they thought they will take on, the big Uncle Sam or the local Uncle Sam, which is, DeSantis, a governor of a fucking state, that has got millions of people living there. They thought that they, as a private enterprise, will take on the government. You can't take on the government, and especially like they thought it's going to be positive PR for them. They'll take on the government and all their customers and all their employees are going to look at it and they're going to be like, oh, cool, what are we doing, and all the whole thing just backfire. Plus, on top of that, they're losing money left, right, center, and all the movies and the franchises are not doing well, parks are not doing well, all kinds of things are going on, bad management. So now Bob Iger, who basically built Disney into what, during the golden era, Bob Iger was around. Basically. That is where they had amazing, they acquired Pixar and they had amazing movies. And, like everything was flourishing. They opened up in Singapore, I think, or they opened up in France. They opened up Disneyland overseas and all that. Now all that has broken down. The machinery has kind of collapsed, and they had to bring Bob Iger back. It really happens that imagine Steve Jobs basically hands over to Tim Cook, and then Tim Cook does so bad that you have to bring Steve Jobs back. That's what basically
Mm,
happened. So
mm.
ultimately, the business of of entertainment or business of anything, this whole wokeism or anything that basically it does not your customer is basically not absorbing that, not buying it. The bottom line is always money. You know, you can push whatever agenda you want. If your company is not making any money, you're gonna drop. And they have been trying to push a certain agenda for the last 5, 6, probably more years. It doesn't work out for them. But DC has actually done it quickly. As soon as Warner Brothers got purchased by Discovery, they just fucking axed all these shitty programs that they thought that should not be in the pipeline. They released a
I
few.
will.
They canceled the Batgirl. So Brendan Fraser was playing the villain in Batgirl, the new Batgirl
Mm.
remake, and it was completely shot, cut, and even a test audience watched it, and they canceled the whole movie. It's canned. So eventually, maybe down the line, they might release it as streaming or whatever. But they do not want to continue with those properties, so they canceled a lot of shit. And
Interesting.
yeah, so I think this whole woke thing, the gender thing, whatever you want to call it, this octopus that they've built, eventually it'll go into decline. Like eventually it'll reverse. Because companies they have to make money, bro. You can't continue on that path. It's not gonna work. You can do small shit like what Apple is doing right now, or a lot of tech companies are doing, which is um, all our products are completely green and we are offsetting our carbon footprint. ये सब चीजें आप करते हैं. But I think if you, it's, a lot of companies are doing it for real, and then there's a lot of companies who are greenwashing. It's called greenwashing. So you're saying that you're green for the sake of green, but in reality you're not taking any steps.
Right.
Eventually, people are gonna find out. The whole thing will collapse.
Yeah, like
And
using batteries.
yeah, I think battery technology. They're saying it's very
I mean,
mature, but yeah,
listen, I'll go Tim Dillon on this. I don't give a fuck. I need my cyber truck. You get what I
yeah,
mean?
I think that's cyber. Exactly. I know. I
Because
know.
it's cool.
It's like Tim
I don't
Dillon. It's like
care.
what Tim Dillon said. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't care. I just want a cyber. It's fucking cool. That's why I need it. That's the same thing with
Right.
Tesla. I mean, but thing is this, right?
I think Tesla has I think they have actually changed their battery technology away from cobalt.
Correct.
Uh,
It's gonna no
and
rare
I
earth
feel
metals. Yeah, they're gonna just use
that
normal material to create batteries. Yeah.
I feel that this whole cobalt reveal happened because Elon pushed it or told Joe Rogan to put somebody on because his competition is now being supported by the government and not him. So this
Correct.
is the way to put pressure on his competition to start working on new battery technology.
Correct. So they went for the traditional, and most of the argument that I get from my friends who are non-EV, they tell me, yeah, there's not enough cobalt on the planet. You can't just use cobalt. And I told them, look, I do not. I understand what you're saying. Not being a Tesla fanboy or anything, I personally think that human knowledge and intelligence, eventually someone's going to figure a way out to create batteries out of trash. Like completely recycle everything and create batteries out of it. But वो पता नहीं कब होगा, maybe 30 years, 50 years from now. But already now,
Oh, you mean
they've just
Back to the
announced,
Future, huh?
yeah, yeah, correct. Just put banana leaf and it'll do it. I mean, if you think about it, yesterday
But
they had the Tesla ने reveal किया ना yesterday. They're gonna open a new plant in Mexico, and that is where I think they're gonna come out with the cheap car. And they're moving away from China. You see, so before people were saying they might open another plant in Indonesia or in the Pacific
no,
somewhere, maybe India.
the idea is very
Yeah,
simple. They're gonna
yeah,
build factories for that particular reason. So if they want to
correct,
sell in China, they have to open in China.
correct, yeah. And if they're going to
So
open in Mexico, that means they're going to come out with a cheap electric car eventually, or vans or whatever, so that they can support the South American market, which is basically people not be able to, or motorcycles, could be anything, bro. Who knows? I don't know. They haven't announced what they're going to build, but they've announced they're building a factory in Mexico.
yeah,
Yeah, they just announced yesterday. Yeah,
wow,
and it's going to be
all right,
bigger than all the factories they've built so far. So every factory they build, it's more better in terms of
As long as my
manufacturing.
Cybertruck is made in
As
Texas,
long as the Cybertruck, bro, your
I don't care.
Cybertruck is going to be made in fucking Texas, bro. That's the one. There's a reason why they want to build it only in
Okay.
Texas. Otherwise, otherwise it's not going to work.
You gotta
Come
put
on,
it in
man.
the front.
Are you going to buy a Cybertruck that's made in China? People might buy, but I personally would not want to buy a truck that's made in China. I want to buy a truck that's made in America, bro. So that's the whole
Yeah,
idea of F-150. जब आप
yeah,
F-150 खरीदते हैं, वो एक feeling
yeah.
आती है कि it's made in America. It's like the whole idea. I don't know. But
But
bro, it'll
you
be
see,
something.
but the whole idea of a truck, it's so weird. Like in Dubai, when we grew up, it was people usually drive cars or
Hmm.
SUVs,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? The truck is a Patan guy. Patan guy
Hmm.
drives the truck because you're not picking up shit. You're just driving your car. You do your job, and when you have to pick up shit, you call the
Yeah.
Patan. The Patan guy drives a pickup truck,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is a Mitsubishi Canter or Isuzu,
Isuzu
you
or
know,
something. Yeah.
some diesel truck. But in America, you got to do shit on your own.
Can you
So the
imagine?
truck looks,
Can you imagine in the future, some state, in the Middle East, they have a rebel group rise up, and
uh,
then they all start using cyber trucks, using
I
cyber
don't
trucks
think,
to get across the and they'll modify the
no,
cyber truck so that people can stand inside it, and then you're driving it around the desert and
I,
everything. You never know, bro.
bro, people will start, nah, I don't
Well,
think,
at the moment, Cybertruck is for off-road, but they have not shown any footage or done any extended, like how they show Model 3s here in New Zealand. They have videos of it driving in the snow. They do a lot of testing in the snow because they have a lot of customers in Canada and New Zealand and all that, and other parts of the world, especially Europe. जहाँ स्नो में वो गाड़ी चलेगी और चलती है. Now, when it comes to Cybertruck, at the moment they are targeting the US market. They're doing F-150, but eventually they'll come with the big elephant in the room, which is Land Cruiser or Patrol. Once they come to that level where I think in the Middle East they will see there's a huge demand for Cybertruck, and when they start creating the second version of it, they start
no,
iterating. They'll have to.
dude, it's, they don't, okay, I'm
Will it
sure
go
they
in the
have done.
desert? Basically, Will it go in the desert?
If a Rivian pickup can go in the desert, it's the concept. It's like you're telling me that uh, a
Mm.
Samsung touchscreen
Yeah,
and
yeah.
a Apple touchscreen,
Mm. Mm.
the
Yeah,
whole thing, it's a touchscreen.
what I'm waiting to
Because
see is all the modification that's going to go on top of it, man. Like in Dubai, the amount of coloring, graffiti, and all the
I
laminating and
more
all
in
that.
Dubai, I think it will happen everywhere. Mostly in America. Dubai is like a small fucking piece of like it's a small market. It's nothing big.
Yeah, but
The more,
they're very memey. I mean, what I'm saying is that things go viral very fast when it happens in Dubai. So can you imagine the kind of shit they'll put in the back,
uh,
in Dubai, no?
I don't think so. Cybertruck people will have in Dubai. People who are into off-roading will have in Dubai, but there are a lot of people who will be buying in the US who basically are in the forefront of anything that happens. Like I haven't seen most people copy the off-roading scene in US
Hmm.
to Dubai. The only thing that
True,
Dubai has is the concept of Land Cruisers, and
true.
that also non-modified. How much, dude? It's a desert. What do you want to modify?
Hmm.
Unless you're putting like a turbo engine and then
I mean
going up.
cosmetic. I meant cosmetic modification, not like.
Yeah, I don't. I feel that Cybertruck will mostly. I may be wrong. Who knows? But I feel
Well,
Cybertruck
in
will
terms
be.
of since you connected into the filmmaking scene, do you think that cyber trucks could be something that could be used for stunt work or not stunt work? I guess camera operation and in the
Yeah,
business of filmmaking, basically,
yeah. I'm gonna do it.
put rigs on it and
Yeah, I'm
see the
doing it.
arms moving. Advantage, क्या है? Like compared to a
Nothing.
normal Mercedes, is it just more
No,
pickup
it's a
speed?
EV. You can use it in the studio.
Does it allow you to output electricity, I think you can, right? If not now,
Mm.
maybe the next model will. Like F-150, the electric truck, right? उसमें क्या है कि उसमें plugs हैं. You can plug things into it and you can operate
Yeah, it
machinery.
will do that too.
Yeah, there you go. So that means that.
Listen,
Mm,
that was the first truck reveal.
yeah, by the time
Everybody
they
came up
produced
with
it,
a
what was
truck.
gonna happen? Yeah.
Everybody came out with the truck except for Dodge. Dodge just came out with their concept, but everybody came out with a truck. Everybody's doing their own thing. Don't you think that they will
They
not
must be
have it?
upgrading it. Yeah, yeah. They must be upgrading it
They
right
might
till
have
the end.
something. What I've heard is it's gonna go into water. It's almost amphibian. It will be almost amphibian. It can go in water, like for short water trips. So I think, I don't know.
Mm.
I'm just saying, possibilities there. I feel that the whole concept of the four motors is that four tires works on its own. So you don't,
Yeah,
they say the differential locking system and like a gas
yeah.
ice truck is when they want all four tires to be independent.
Bro, they just made a
So,
new update. When the car topsy turvy is, मतलब if you have an accident,
oh,
it'll automatically dial out to emergency services. Small small चीजें, अभी जैसे कि मैं अगर आप ऊंचा म्यूजिक सुन रहे हो, when you open the door, suddenly the volume will drop. If you lower your window, the volume will drop. Like all these small things they introduced after I bought my car. So they do these small updates that over time fix. Like when I change my lane, if I put the signal, usually what you have to do is do the whole rotation, and then when the wheel comes back, click band hota hai. Yeah, the other annoying one is that you do the click, but you do halfway, it'll click two times, tick, tick, and then it'll stop. This one, you click, it'll keep clicking, you move into the lane, and then it'll stop. But if you move from this middle lane to the last lane, it'll continue clicking. So it's very smart to understand कि भाई आप दूसरी लेन में जा रहे हो या पहली लेन में जा रहे हो, आप ओवरटेक कर रहे हो, ये अभी है. So can you imagine 10 साल में क्या होगा? And it works flawlessly, bro. And if I go into a lane that is turning right, like signal पे, I go to the last lane, और जो ऊपर signal है, I'm now waiting to, अगर उसके ऊपर sign होगा ना, right turn का, तो signal बंद नहीं होगा, signal चलता रहेगा. So I don't have to do it again. So this is just in a simple, like a basic, technology. So, I mean, you can imagine the 10, 15 years from now, what kind of stuff is going to be there. And, yeah, I don't know, sky's the
yeah,
limit.
yeah,
Um, so have you placed an order for Cybertruck, or you're just gonna wait and watch
the
and
moment
then buy it?
it was revealed.
Oh, you placed
I'm
the
not a
order the
fan.
moment it's revealed.
Yeah, I'm not a fanboy. I wasn't like, oh man, it doesn't look good, dude. I was like, fuck. I wasn't a fanboy, but this looks amazing. I'm buying
In
it
the
right
beginning, the
now.
design is a bit like what's going on, but slowly you start looking at the idea of what they're doing in terms of engineering. You
Dude,
being
it
an
was
engineering guy, I mean,
not
your
because
family
of
and
me
everything.
being engineering.
Yeah.
I just looked at it. I was like,
You
fuck,
just
it
like
looks
Tim
cool.
Dillon basically said, he just wanted, why not? Yeah.
Looks cool.
Yeah. No, but the whole thing is one big piece of metal, bro. I mean, the way they
I
make it, the
don't care. It
caskets,
just
like,
looks
yeah,
cool, dude.
no
I
welding.
would buy another. I would buy another Cybertruck. Take the battery out, put a diesel engine in it, and drive it as well, because it's fucking cool.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, yeah.
It's just
And last thing,
it's not stupid. Like if you think about it, if you have an electric Cybertruck, right, and you're waiting for the zombie apocalypse, obviously, because it looks like a post-apocalypse. You have another one. It looks like Cybertruck. You take out the battery, you put a diesel engine in it, make it 4x4, right?
you could
It's
put machine
perfect.
guns in it, man. You could put machine guns
Dude,
in it as well.
you so if the grid goes
Make
down,
it completely zombie, yeah. Put some
if the
grates
grid goes,
under it. Put some grates with spikes under it, everything. So when the zombies come, you just fucking run them over.
yeah, and then obviously you have to go to some fucking overlord to buy some diesel. You know,
Mm.
you go sell some bullets, get some diesel, put in your diesel Cybertruck. It's like
Mm. Mm.
it doesn't have paint. Like if I were a truck manufacturer, I would look at Cybertruck and go, we should make a diesel version of this. The same concept. No paint, heavy duty metal, bulletproof glass,
It probably would
bulletproof.
do well in Middle Eastern countries, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be perfect. Dude, rednecks would buy that.
Hmm. Hmm. No, in Dubai, I think the citizens, if you're a Emirati or Qatari, if you're a citizen, electricity bills are free. So a lot of them, they're just charging at home. So it is actually free. Could be one more reason to have that. But another thing I want to ask was, कि यार ठीक है, I mean, they're making all these cars and everything, but man, I've been back home. I mean, to the motherland. UK is the
Mhm.
motherland. I'm talking about, my parents' home. Because they left us, right? They left us, so they're living in the UK. So I mean, in a way, it's still the
Mm.
motherland. I mean, at least for the Australians, it's still the motherland, right? We still
Okay.
haven't signed off on. We still celebrate the Queen's birthday and everything. So technically speaking, they are, I mean, we owe them something. So anyway, coming back to it,
Oh, really?
yeah, yeah, yeah. We celebrate the Queen's birthday. Don't they celebrate in Canada? Of course, bro. Come on. तो फिर तो है ना, फिर तो बनता है ना यार, बनता है, सही ना. So I'm
They
thinking
they
that
they they basically got all these land and they were like all these brown people. Oh, these guys are
don't
coming
come
to
over.
UK?
Yeah, 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 don't come.
It's too
Yeah.
small. Our island is too small.
Send
So
them to
we're gonna
Canada, send them
destroy.
to. Countries. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Commonwealth countries.
Send
So
them to where there are fucking spiders everywhere, or send them to where it's so fucking cold, and these guys will be
exactly.
like,
The
oh,
most deadliest, bro. The most deadliest, the most venomous, fucking the most poisonous shit. Everything here in Australia is built to kill you. Everything. You
of course.
step out here, mate, in the jungle, mate, everything is there to kill you. Nobody gives a fuck. Like, kind of things even kangaroos, even the most cutest kangaroos, if you get too close, they will jump and they will kick with their feet on your chest and they'll fucking break your entire fucking cage, bro. It's that strong, the kicks. Everything here
Uh,
literally is here to build you. I mean, kill you. We have another bird known as the cockatoo. Okay, it's a white color bird.
yeah.
Okay, it's got the yellow thing. Dude, my area, right, is a cockatoo migration habitat. So every year when they migrate, they pass through here and they will
Uh,
hang around fucking the roof. They'll be on all the wiring on the fucking street. They'll be sitting on the traffic signal. They'll be sitting over all the street lights. They're everywhere, and they're always fucking fighting with each other. Quack, 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 quack. All kinds of shit going on. And they're so loud and they're so noisy कि आप सो ही नहीं सकते. रात को देर तक लगे रहते हैं वो लोग और सुबह भी बहन चोद ना जब उड़ जाते हैं and they're like you could tell they're like this bunch of motherfuckers. They're not. They look cute, but when they open their mouth, it's like that beautiful looking girl, who's
mm,
I mean, like Rani Mukherjee, right? As long as you look at her, she looks fine, but as soon as she opens her mouth, that's it. It's like one of those cute birds who are good on picture, they're good on camera, but as soon as they open their mouth, they're fucking annoying. The voice that they create
I
and
don't
they're
know.
and they're really loud. They're really loud, man. I'm not sure if you're thinking about the same cockatoo that I'm thinking about. I'm not sure. Do they have them in Canada?
You mean Kookaburra?
No, 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 no. The kookaburra is different. It's brown in color. It's got a black
Yeah.
beak, and they're the ones who are on the cricket balls. The kookaburra is very
Uh,
cute and nice boy, but kookaburras are not afraid of people. So once I was having a barbecue on the bench and I had a small portable barbecue charcoal वाला ना उसके ऊपर मैंने चिकन और मैंने सीख कबाब और दो तीन बिहारी बोटी वगैरह सब उसके ऊपर पकड़ा था. It was fucking cold, bro. It was like 13-12 degrees. I mean, for Australia it's pretty cold. And in-laws were here and we were sitting on the wooden bench जो पार्क के अंदर बेंच बना हुआ था and it was a bird reserve. तो हमें पता नहीं था लिखा था bird reserve. I was like, yeah, what the fuck, didn't see any bird. एक दफा पकना शुरू हुआ bro, fucking all these birds came और एक आया उसको गलती से हमने एक बोटी दे दी. And bro, he called the entire town. He called the entire family over, and he started making all. And the kookaburra जो तुम बात कर रहे हो, that one,
laughing
they're
jackass.
so fearless. Yeah, they're so fearless. वो आके बैठ गए, उधर ही बैठ गए, सामने कि मुझे और दो. तो उसको स्टिक के साथ ना, सीख के साथ उसको थोड़ा पोक कर रहे थे कि he'll run away. He's sitting there. उसको पोक कर रहे हैं, कुछ भी नहीं हो रहा उसको, right? And then he started calling all his friends, and then we stopped giving them food. You know what they did? They started flying in and trying to pick up the Sikhs.
No,
And the Sikhs are
no.
hot, so they were picking it up and then dropping it, picking it up and dropping it.
Wow.
Yeah, bro. They're fearless birds. You know, एक दफा आपने
Yeah,
उनको
so
उंगली उंगली देती पूरा हाथ पकड़ लेंगे वो लोग. So yeah,
that's
I mean
funny.
Australia's wildlife is pretty interesting, no doubt. When you get time, you should come down here.
Right.
Yeah. So I think we've been at it for about 1 hour 20 minutes almost. I think the only thing I wanted to actually end it off with was what's your whole idea on? I mean, it's quite early. It's quite early at the moment, but I saw Trump's union address now, like 2 3 days ago, on Rumble.
Trump's union letter?
Yeah. Address. So so Biden gave a address to the union. Okay,
Yeah.
I think that's what they call it, address to the union, which is their
State of the
half-term
Union.
thing. State of the Union, is
Mm.
that what they call it? Sorry. So he was addressing the crowd that was there or whatever, and and as a rebuttal, Trump gave his thing on it. Okay, so he gave a 30 40 minute speech, as to what things he's promising, certain things he wants to reverse, certain things are new. Long story short, the one thing that caught my attention was he said that EVs, they are not taking us anywhere, and we're gonna shut down all these tax incentives and the subsidies for electric vehicles and
Mm.
down the try to bring down the price of petrol so that it can become
Mm-hmm.
affordable, reduce inflation because the price of petrol went up, everything has become expensive, and he kind of went on that trajectory. Do you think that electric, this whole thing, is a niche thing? Do you think it'll become global, like the way Tesla and Elon Musk and a lot of companies are saying that eventually 10, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, all cars will be electric. A lot of things will move to solar. And but if you look at all these countries, like the majority of the population lives in the Asian countries, Middle Eastern countries, or even Eastern Europe, में इतनी population है. What happens there? I mean, like, you, that's what I'm saying. When I went back to visit parents, when I went to Pakistan, I realized कि यार वहाँ तो कोई इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर ही नहीं है ना, बिजली नहीं टाइम पे आती. इंडिया में भी लोड शेडिंग होती है सारा कुछ. So even if you
My
build electric cars or even if you
dude,
have electric
if
motorcycle, how
pa
are you gonna
pa
charge all
pa
that?
Pakistan, if somebody's driving a Tesla and somebody's driving a Bugatti, you know the Tesla guy is richer.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it doesn't make sense. Where I mean,
उसके
even if you
पास
build
उसके
electric,
उसके पास probably substation है. ये
bro,
बंदा
यहाँ
बुगाटी.
ब्रो ऑस्ट्रेलिया में यहाँ से गाड़ियाँ, यूज गाड़ियाँ जो टेस्ला जो क्रैश होती हैं या टेस्ला हैव बीन हिट एंड दे हैव बीन रिटन ऑफ बाय इंश्योरेंस, nothing is wrong with the car itself, you just need to repair the door or whatever, they are being written off and they are going from here to Pakistan to India. लोग import कर रहे हैं गाड़ियाँ यहाँ से and they're repairing them and then selling them in the country and people are buying it over there.
Right.
They have Audi
I
e-tron
don't
now.
know.
So
I don't
I'm
know.
thinking to myself, how, I mean, China I can understand, they have infrastructure, but I'm not able to understand कि ये countries में infrastructure है भी, even if let's say they make affordable electric vehicles, charging it is a whole different game. I mean, nobody's buying Cybertruck. I'm talking about like they had cheap Chinese cars, like BYD is there. There's so many
I
other
mean,
companies.
dude, think about it. Normal person drives a small, cheap ice car. Okay.
Hmm.
How much gas? Like, even with inflation, how much gas do they need? It's not that expensive. If you're driving an SUV, right, like a huge truck, I would agree, okay, it's kind of expensive.
Hmm.
But if you're driving a Honda Civic,
Makes sense.
the new
Yeah,
ones,
yeah.
the hybrids, they
They
you
hardly use that much.
add a 50, 60
You get
dollar
10 liters.
tank.
You get about I think 100 kilometers per 4 liters or 4 liters पे 4 liters
Mm.
of petrol. That's 1 gallon of petrol पे 100 kilometers मिल रहा है लोगों को. with the
So
hybrid.
why would I like if I'm writing? I think to me, as a market point of view, it doesn't make sense. So if you really want a Tesla, it's either for, you know,
Have
greenwashing.
solar at home, yeah, or you have a solar at
No,
home and you want to use
no,
that.
no. It's either I'm telling the incentive of the motivation of the user. It's
Oh,
either for
okay.
greenwashing. He wants the latest technology, like the latest iPhone. Like my iPhone 13 Pro, I bought after my iPhone 7 was dead. Right? Like I didn't have to buy all
Yeah.
the iPhones that came in the middle. But there are people who buy every year. I'm gonna
Hmm.
upgrade. So there are people who buy Teslas because of that. Then there are some people who want, luxury car, or they want something fast. They go, you know what, Tesla is a better option. Uh,
Hmm.
so for me, my reasoning was, if I buy an electric vehicle, it needs to be it needs to look fucking cool. Like it needs to look
Yeah.
like a futuristic thing, right?
Why
It
not?
needs to be
Yeah.
it needs to be stupid because it's such a huge truck. But then at the same time, this truck goes 2.9 seconds to 100
Yeah.
kilometers an hour.
There'll be
That's
something, bro.
stupid.
Yeah.
So that it's just for kicks. And if I
Hmm.
can really afford it, I'll buy it. But do I really need to buy one? No.
Hmm.
I can drive an old Sequoia,
Hmm.
okay? Toyota Sequoia. Well, it's like the American Land Cruiser. It's super cheap. I own one. It's super cheap. The engine will last for millions of miles, and it's a huge truck. When I need to use that truck for truck stuff, I'll put gas in it.
Hmm.
I don't have to be in debt to ride it.
Yeah, I think
It's
when it
cheap
comes
as fuck.
from, yeah, I think when it comes to the
It's a it's
idea
a
of
it's a debt
economy,
trap.
yeah, it's
It's
a
a it's a
trap. It's a
debt.
debt trap. Yeah, that's what I was about to ask. If there's no infrastructure, why would you go for any electric car? Because let's say you buy a really cheap, let's say, I don't know, $15,000. Let's say there's a 15,000 US dollar or 20,000 US dollar car. In India, I don't know, those bigger countries like China, whatever, let's say BYD, there's all these other manufacturers. They come out with a very bare bone electric car. Problem is, even if you get the car, it might be low maintenance. The problem is the infrastructure is not there. The grid is not there to charge the car. I can see motorcycles though, because predominantly in these countries, motorcycles are used by students, workers, delivery drivers, and everybody. So I can see कि एक स्कूटर जो है उसके अंदर लेट्स से 5 किलोवाट की अगर बैटरी भी है या 10 किलोवाट की बैटरी है इन अ नॉर्मल कार टेस्ला फॉर एग्जांपल इज 50 किलोवाट बैटरी अगर आप 5 किलोवाट की बैटरी भी डालते हैं यू गोना गेट 50 60 70 किलोमीटर आपको 5 किलोवाट में मिल जाएंगे एंड टू चार्ज इट विल टेक यू मे बी 30 मिनट्स टू चार्ज 5 kilowatts. So if you're a delivery driver, you're a Pizza Hut or Domino's or anything like that, you got 7 8 motorcycles in the queue. अगर पूरे दिन में कितनी डिलीवरी कर लेंगे कितना आप चला लेंगे 50 किलोमीटर चला लेंगे ज़्यादा 60 चला लेंगे एंड यू कैन चार्ज इट.
It's all consumerism, man. See,
Hmm.
it's just another selling, another way to put people in debt.
Consumerism, yeah. People feel
I
like
mean,
before, yeah, people before were like people, I don't know why people feel that when they consume something they need to reduce the impact of that consumption. You know what I mean? Just don't
it's
consume it.
such a hard idea. Are you an idiot? What do you mean? Don't consume?
Yeah. All right, bro. On that
Sorry,
note, I think we'll call it a
I'm
day.
I'm sorry.
I'm
I went
trolling.
into a Tim Dillon mode,
No, bro. I'm
but
actually a fan now. I actually listen to his one. Dude, he spends an hour just looking at the camera and a mic and just talking about shit. Like, he just goes for it.
yeah, yeah,
And it's all like he's just trolling. He's just trolling the entire world. He's trolling the entire YouTube. Like, he just,
yeah, fucking everybody.
yeah, everywhere, bro. But the thing is, his life का experience sense कि he's one of those comedians who's not worked in entertainment. He's worked a lot of the blue collar jobs, the white collar jobs especially. He's done them, so he's able to come from
Yeah,
that
he's a scammer.
angle.
He's
Correct.
he's a real scammer. He
Yeah.
wants to ride a BMW, or sorry, a Range Rover,
Yeah.
and live the life. You know,
Correct.
he's
He's
like, what
done
the
that.
fuck? People
He's
love
been
me.
there, done that. Yeah.
No, people love him because he's
Bro, have you listened to
openly
the Joey Diaz
hypocrite.
and Tim Dillon? Have you listened to the Joey Diaz Tim Dillon podcast?
No,
Bro, there's a Joey Diaz. I mean, Joey Diaz has a podcast, obviously.
oh
Tim
yeah,
Dillon's a guest
Uncle
on it,
Joey.
bro. You need to listen to that. Yeah, Uncle Joey, right, asks him that why did you basically get into stand-up comedy? He said that I knew that if I fail at stand-up comedy, I'll always go back to selling mortgages. So it was so funny, like the way he explained it. That whole podcast is really good, like the one he did with Uncle
Uh,
Joey. Yeah, yeah. Chalo,
yeah.
we'll do this next week again, bro. I think today's session went well, I think. But if you have anything on top of your mind for next week, just bring it along.
I have so many things going on in my head. It's doesn't
It'll
make
come.
sense.
It'll come.
I'll
Eventually, it'll come. It'll
yeah,
come out in one of these podcasts. Yeah, it'll come.
I go I the conversations I might go into is too deep.
Oh my God, no! I'm ready for deep, bro. I'm ready for you. I'm like, just when
Uh,
I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
all right,
Chalo,
man.
ठीक है. Okay, boss.
All
Bye.
right, all right, bye.